Hello, welcome to just a brief explanation of the first major assignment, which is the critical annotative bibliography. So, obviously, first off, page specifications. Everything should be in this class in proper Emily format. So you want 1-inch margins, 12-point font, Times New Roman. Again, submit only doc, docx, ODT, or RTF files. The due date is Tuesday, January 27th, 2015, obviously, 8 p.m. in Blackboard. You hopefully should have written a few annotated bibliographies, either in Composition 2 or other composition courses. But I'll show you a few examples in what I expect and what it should look like. In terms of the general instructions, so you'll research and find 2 scholarly sources, not reviews, which I'll, again, talk to you about in a moment, that discuss the concept of the American Dream in film. You can focus on any aspect of what is generally included within the scope of the American Dream: family values, capitalism, acquiring wealth, freedoms and liberties of all sorts, ranging in all sorts of liberties and freedoms, variety of those, work ethic, secular morality, religious dogma, or any other aspect that helps to define the American dream. So, again, you have free range in terms of what the scholars and academics talk about. You also have free range in terms of the movies and cinema that you could use, right? The sources can focus on a variety of cinema. They could look at Hollywood movies, art house or independent films, grindhouse, and beyond, and any particular period in film history as well. So, really just play into your interest, right? If you like crime stories or gangster films, look at the gangster film in the American Dream. If you like teen romance, look at teen romance and the American Dream. There's a recent book actually just on that subject. If you like sci-fi, right, talk about sci-fi and the American Dream. So you're really free to look at films from any period and from any system, whether it's the studio system or independent system. Here's the, of course, limitations. The sources themselves should be from legitimate journals or books. They should be from well-established authors, right? And then they should be published from 2000 to 2015. So what we're concerned with, especially in this class, is really looking at what's happening today as well as what happened previously in film. So this particular assignment should really focus on contemporary 21st century film studies. Now, what I said earlier about the review, so do not annotate any review, explication, or synopsis. We are looking for scholarly sources, and they should be primary argumentative-based critical articles or chapters. And so again, we're looking at scholars. We're not looking at film critics. We actually want to look at what scholars are talking about. Right? So, the task. You'll divide the annotations by source and place them in alphabetical order. Under each citation should be a 1 to 2 paragraph summary of the article, which is an annotation, discuss in brief but specific detail what each author argues, and provide specific examples and data concerning how each one proves and supports the assertions. After the 2 annotations, you'll have another paragraph, or 2, in which you'll compare and contrast their claims. So this is your own analytical ideas. The entire document really should be about 1.5 to 2 pages. 2 pages, of course, being a maximum. Follow the examples below as your guide, and I'll get to them in a moment. Use the online databases provided via our library. The best databases, if you haven't researched much in film or literature, would be JSTOR, Literature Online or Line, Literature Resource Center, and Project Muse. Now, numerous books on the subject exist. Our library has a few of them. So you can annotate a chapter from a book or an essay from a book as well. You don't need to just look at the database. And again, so that might help you out in terms of time too. And of course, don't annotate an entire book. Just do a chapter, right? An entire book would require a much longer annotation than a paragraph. So, the strength of the sources. So, they must be from legitimate and relevant sources. So, grading scale would be 0 to 20. The annotation themselves, the paragraphs, should be comprehensive, should be cohesive, right? They should contain clear summaries of the arguments and evidence. They should have specific detail and support for the author's claims, and they should, of course, be well-structured paragraphs. The second set of paragraphs, the comparisons and contrast paragraphs, right, should be cohesive as well. They should contain, this time, analytical ideas instead of descriptive ones. They should be, again, well-structured, flow properly. They should demonstrate the similarities and differences in assertions. And, of course, you should have specific analytical arguments. And so that's 0 to 25. 0 to 15 is language, of course, grammar, clear language that expresses and explains each idea in an understandable manner, and, of course, format, right? So 0 to 15. Remember, every time the assignment is late, you'll lose 10 points. So, I give an example. This is coming from, and both of these are, annotations that I've had in previous classes. This one comes from the previous semester, and note the format already. Obviously, you're not going to have this, right? But you always want your last name and page number. Your name, my name, class, the date. Notice how it's double spaced. Now, the annotation should be similar to this, depending on if you're doing a journal or not. You have MLA format. You have last name, comma, first name, period. You have the article title in quotes. There's a interior title, so it should be either italicized or quote, depending on if it's a long or short work. The journal, which should italicize. The volume and issue number, the year, and then the page number. And then this person found it from EBSCOhost connection, and so they put web, and then the date, the last date that they accessed the article. And so read through the annotation, but this is a full-sized paragraph. This is a strong annotation. It gives clear detail. It follows proper MLA format. There's a few quotes, but not too much, right? You want to really just put it in your own words. Of course, that's what a summary is. And so, really read through this and look at what they're doing. Again, notice, proper citation. Notice that it's tabbed. What is important, note, is that it's single-spaced, right? And so notice that I should probably have put that up there. My apologies. But, well, it's not quite single-spaced because your heading should always be double-spaced. But the citations themselves should be single-spaced, so note that spacing. And then here, so just to demonstrate and go back. So we have annotation 1 starting with Barrerio, right? Then we have annotation 2 with Edwards. And again, they're one paragraph, but it's a full paragraph. And then we have the comparison, right? So, they compared and contrast and made an analytical argument accordingly. So again, look over these examples, and I gave you another example too. And so just be careful of making sure you're following. Notice how really long paragraphs. This person probably could have separated this paragraph for sure, but good, very strong annotations and summaries, as well as good analytical comparisons in that second form and set of paragraphs. Obviously, if you need this in alternative format, just please contact the Accessibility Resource Center and myself. If you have any questions, obviously email, right? And then I'll put something up too in Blackboard for us to post questions. But always email. If you have any questions, always email. Good luck on the assignment. And again, especially if you have any trouble researching, finding articles, tell me. Don't wait until the day before the assignment is due. But again, this is a very important aspect of film studies, especially obviously in America, looking at how movies convey and reinforce the idea of the American dream. So there's a lot of scholarship on this, so really work hard to find the most interesting one to you, and of course, the still one that's legitimate. Again, good luck. If you have any questions, always email.